Okay, very good. So we left on page 206, and we're going to start with a new subtitle, isn't it?
We did the first paragraph of there is only one self.
Okay, we did the first paragraph. Okay. Let me read that paragraph. Now, to have the control of the organs of action is possible only when one's mind is pure, when it is no longer under the spell of raga dveshas. Thus, there is an order presented here, a natural order that is very beautiful. Having the discipline of karma yoga, the mind is pure and therefore the body, mind and senses are under one's control. Such a person then becomes the one who knows oneself as a self in all beings and is called Sarvabhuta Atma Bhuta Atma. Sarva means all and Bhuta means beings. And who are these beings? Every being from Ramaji to mosquito, all of them. This means that oneself is the self of all beings and that there is no other self or anything else apart from the self. Now he's taking into account not only the world that we know, isn't it? But he's also taking into account another world that we don't know, of which we have reference to, but we don't know. Which world is that? Now, the world that we know is this universe, right? With all its names and forms and everything else. And there are beings right there. And then he says that the Vastu, the truth of this world, and all its beings is the self, right? Now he's saying, bringing into account another world. Which is the other world?
One self is the self of all beings.
No, right, but of all beings in this world, right? In this manifestation, right? But then he's also speaking about another realm,
Brahmaji.
Brahmaji. Now, what does that mean?
God.
That's right, Brahmaji. Now, he's talking about here the Creator, etc. Okay, now, these are the, you see, yes, this realm, these lokas, where Brahmaji are beyond our perception. Right? We can study, analyze the world. We can go very, take it all apart, you know, the world has been analyzed over and over. But this world of Brahmaji is very subtle. They say the intellect does not go there, because it is a creator, they say. These are the divine principles, that rule because of which the universe functions. Remember that we made this, let me just make it. Remember that in the lesson course, there's this circle and this Om. Out of that Om, there's another circle that unfolds. It's called Maya. And then out of Maya, then three things come out. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Okay, I'm talking about this is the manifestation. Right? Now watch. These Rajas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, which are the three qualities that make up the universe, that are the content of Maya. Maya means the manifestation. It expresses as, watch this, as these three qualities, gunas. Out of the Sattva guna, okay, out of the Sattva guna, then it expresses in three. These are called the Sattvic divine principles, which are Brahma, Vishnu, and Parameshwara. Shiva. Now, if you look at this, please, watch this. If you take that and put it upside down, you have Sattva being the highest, the most subtle. Is that right? In terms of subtlety, it's the most subtle. Now, Tamas and Rajas, we can see. Tamas and Rajas is a manifestation. Now, and you say, well, then where the subtle is someplace else. We say, because we say that's the esoteric aspect of it, we say, right? It isn't. As a matter of fact, look at this. Sattva also impregnates Rajas and Tamas. In other words, neither of these three are always by themselves, separate. They're not absolute. The entire manifestation, okay, now we're no longer doing this. The entire manifestation it's composed of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas in different degrees of manifestation. Isn't it? Now, look at this. Out of Sattva comes a divine principle. This is and say, how do you know about it? I mean, this is a divine, the Lord, manifested in Brahmaji, and then Vishnu, and then Shiva, the destructive power, the sustaining power. Okay, and they say, well, this belongs to the heavens, they say, isn't it? Isn't it? They usually belongs to the heavens. And they call it heavens because it's so subtle. But this heaven is not anywhere else away from here. It also impregnates in manifestation. This is all a manifestation. So, this Brahmaji is a creative principle, even the one that allows the possibility of a thought to start.
Allow the possibility of?
Of a thought to manifest. Brahmaji is right there doing his job in the mind. Brahmaji, look at this please. And not only that, when Brahmaji manifests a thought, then the thought is manifested but now it's sustained, isn't it? And then who's sustaining it? The divine principle called what?
Sattva.
No. Rajas. Rajas, which is what? What is the ruler of Rajas? Is what? Vishnu. The sustaining power. Is that right? And that sustaining power, look at this please, not only sustains a thought, but you can think about a thought coming up, staying there, and not staying forever. And another thought comes on, and then another thought comes on, and now you got that thought, is stuck in that thought. Now you got two thoughts, now you got a million thoughts. So these thoughts need to cycle. So there's a divine power working there. For what? For the thoughts to disappear. You know who's doing that? The divine principle called Shiva. The destructor. Destroyer.
So that means Tamas.
No. It's not, it's all within Sattva. This is just the manifestation of Sattva. It creates a thought. So then that's the Brahmaji. Then it sustains the thought, that is Vishnu. And then the thought gets destroyed. So the principles are functioning even at the mind level. Now, and those same principles are functioning at the Rajas, how do you call it, the Tamas level. Look, you have this body. This is gross. Okay? You have this body. And this body is also sustained by the three principles. Okay? The density is Tamas. Okay? But then, the body, okay, it requires the presence of Brahmaji, for it to create what they call a piece of food, and then create, how do you call that? In Spanish we call it bola alimenticio. Then it's not food anymore. When the chewing goes on, and the saliva comes inside of it, and then it gives some insights and all that, then it becomes food. Before it was an apple. So it is Brahmaji that is doing that, making that possible. And then that food is sustained now as food, and it goes in, and then it starts nourishing, sustaining the body, isn't it? So does Vishnu. And then, does he stay there?
No.
He gets what? He gets what? Turned into fecal matter that goes out. That's Shiva. Destroying that which is there. Otherwise, you never have digestion, you see. So you saw at the mental level that happens, and at the gross level also happens. So that is why Jesus said, he said, heaven is within you. Meaning, those subtle powers, the power of creation, the power of sustenance, and the power of elimination or destruction are inherent in the entire manifestation. You see the idea? So, he's talking about those principles that make everything function and the cycle of life to continue. Even there, look at this please, the self is present. You are there. As a matter of fact, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva are the results of what? Omkara, which means the truth of you, who you are, which manifests in this particular way. There's nothing else but Brahman. All there is Brahman. The manifestation, which is apparent, in its most subtle or gross level, is nothing but Brahman also. Is that true? Look at this. Even in the feces, Brahman is there. Why? Because feces is. What gives it this isness? It is not satyam, sat. So he's saying here, look at what he's saying about, and this self is not just this Om over here. This self you are. There's nothing else. Because if you were something separate from him, she, whatever you call it, then it wouldn't be Brahman. So Omkara is a representing symbol of that ultimate reality, which is present, look at this, the Om, in the three periods of time. In the waking state, presence is there. As a witness, Sakshi. In the dream state, there's a presence there. Sakshi of what? Of the dream state. And of the deep sleep state, presence is there. So Sakshi is present. That consciousness, that doesn't require objects to be, but because of which objects are, that consciousness that's present in all three periods of time is symbolized with a symbol Om. Omkara. Sound symbol Om. Now, this is something that needs to be appreciated. Now, you can go and worship any one of the deities in the temple. But look, hey, just give a look at time. Look at this. Time doesn't stand still. It's a constant flow, isn't it? Time. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Time is constant flow from our standpoint. This second is now. Brahma. This second is there. Vishnu. This second is gone. Shiva. Contemplate upon that. And then upon what does it happen? It happens in me. In myself, which is awareness. So what? Yes. Now, where does time start? Time is in the mind. If you define time, it is what? The distance between two events. Is that right? Now, one thought, another thought. Time is taking place. It might be very close to each other. Nanosecond, you can call it. Nanosecond now, nanosecond. But there's two events, okay? And where do they happen? In awareness. There's something constant. It's called Satyam. That doesn't change. Time, this moment is not that moment. The future moment is not this moment. But then, who's